where am I? Am I at the fire festival or something?
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday! Come on down to the Midsommar Festival here in Sweden on Sunday!
Midsommar? Tell me more.
We have great scenery, room and lodging, live music, dancing, and more with meat pies.
Okay.
And come for the scenery and stay for the attractions.
Wow, this sounds like a great time. I guess I'm partaking in Midsommar.
Be there!
What's going on, friends? Logan Myerz here for Cinephellas.com. Tonight I'm going to be reviewing the follow-up from Ari Aster, one of my favorite new directors in the horror genre, his new film, Midsommar. So we had an advanced screening for this, the press screening downtown Chicago. It was really awesome and intimate. It was a small theater. There was like maybe 50 people there, all the Chicago critics. I want to make a quick shout out to Ally Global Marketing, Alex and the team over there hooking us up with the press tickets to see Midsommar. And shout out to A24, one of the best companies in the movie industry, always putting out unique and original films. And with the case of Midsommar, it's definitely something you haven't seen before. So the setup of the film, we have Dani, played by Florence Pugh, amazing actress. This is definitely one of her better performances to date. I loved her in Fighting With My Family with Nick Frost, that wrestling movie that just came out, and I reviewed it right here on our channel. So something awful happens to Dani's family. She's very traumatized of what has happened, and she's grieving, and she's in a really dark place and hurting. She's dating this guy named Christian, played by Jack Reynor, another phenomenal actor, Irish actor. He was in Sing Street and a bunch of independent films. I really love that guy, and he plays her boyfriend. He's there for her, you know, when she's dealing with this really, really bad time, grieving over a situation that happened with her family, and he's trying to be there, but he doesn't really feel like he wants to be there. He's just being there because he has to. You know, he's Dani's boyfriend, and from the setup of the film, you can tell that they don't have the greatest relationship. You see Christian always apologizing and saying, "I'm sorry," and Dani's like, "Where were you at? What are you doing now? What are you doing tomorrow?" You know, just always questioning Christian, and he's always apologizing. So that sets up the film, a really beautiful intro, a lot of like snow and darker colors setting up the title of the movie, Midsommar, which is like total contrast to the rest of the film. We have Will Poulter playing Christian's friend Mark, and then you have Josh played by William Jackson Harper, and then their Swedish friend that kind of introduces them to this Midsommar festival. So they have this trip planned out, and Josh is writing his thesis for college about the festival, you know, being in Sweden and all that good stuff, traveling. So they're really setting out on this journey, this adventure, trying to get Dani in a good place, you know, kind of relax and get her mind off of things, even though she kind of forced her way into that situation. And all the group of friends don't really care for Dani, just seeing how she acts crazy and things like that. And a group of friends embark on this awesome adventure, go into the middle of nowhere in Sweden, and really setting up the rest of this film. Pelle is their Swedish friend that takes them to this commune in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to call it a cult because they don't call it a cult. It's just like a commune, a little community. Looks like a bunch of hippies that live in the mountains and stuff like that. You know, he grew up there. He was a foster kid. They took him in, and he grew up and then moved to America for college. So he went back, took his friends to show him, you know, a piece of his life. And everything looks good at first, but you know, that's going to change in a horror film. And in this movie, there's a lot of drug usage with them taking mushrooms or drinking like some sort of tea that has hallucinogens in it. Like a lot of the movie, they're like tripping, and there's like waves in the camera, like from their point of view, and it's just like things are distorted and moving around, and they're having a good time. You know, they're being young, they're taking drugs and putting themselves in a very vulnerable situation. There's something darker with these people, and we find out, you know, we see throughout the film, there's definitely something going on here that's weird and just not right. So with a lot of films, you have, you know, like Americans going to foreign countries and putting themselves in these really terrible situations. And this is definitely another example of that, but I really enjoy how they do this, the storytelling in this film. They're noticing a lot of weird things around this commune, like symbols and like paintings on a canvas, and it was really interesting, and like they have like a big bear in a cage, just a lot of weird shit. And it, you know, it's surrounded by like canyons and mountains and things like that. A lot of symbols that are incorporated in this film, much like Hereditary. And I will say, I'm not comparing the two films. And I liked, you know, with Ari Aster's first film, Hereditary, which was one of my favorite films in 2018. I like how everything was kind of dark and dreary in that film, in this house. And then with Midsommar, it's complete opposite. It's sunlight all day long. There's no darkness. Where Hereditary, the characters kind of hide in the darkness and everything that happens there. In this one, there's nowhere to hide. You're in the sunlight. There's no darkness. There's nowhere to hide in the shadows. I thought it was really great contrast from the first film, Hereditary, to the second film with Midsommar. And I want to say the cinematography and the camera work in this film is absolutely beautiful and stunning. Just the way Ari Aster, directs and the way he moves the cameras around. He does like a lot of over the head shots he did with Hereditary, like going from one room to the next, and then from like the ground up shots and like close-ups of the characters, and the way that it cuts to the next scene. Just the editing is really great. And I love the wide shots that they do, capturing this huge like prairie in the middle of Sweden, in the middle of nowhere basically, with all these barns and things like that, and all these weird people in this commune. So I just love the use of the wide shot to capture everything, and it really kind of builds this atmosphere. Josh is doing some research for his thesis. He's talking to elders, older people of this community, that has to do with the book and this kid that paints it in. It's really, really weird, and I don't know if I really grasped everything about that aspect of the film. Pretty cool, but they're not going to let all their secrets out for it to be published, especially in a thesis for college in America. So things obviously aren't going to turn out great for a lot of the supporting cast in this film. But I really love the chemistry of all these characters. I thought Christian and Danny, even though their relationship is very tainted and it's not in a good place, the rest of the characters, and Josh and Mark, Pell, they really had a great dynamic, and them working together in this commune and trying to put their heads together to figure out what the fuck's going on and also have a good time. But with Midsommar, there's some great themes here, like the first film of Hereditary being about grieving. This film is also about grieving and also relationships and bad relationships, toxic relationships. It's a really big aspect of the film that we see from the beginning up until the very end of the film, how it all ends for some of the characters, and I don't want to say too much. This is a film I don't want to give too much away. It's balls to the wall, bonkers, fucking insane. It's one of the most disturbing flicks I've seen in a long time in the theater. Being in the audience in Chicago, I've never seen an entire crowd go in this particular scene that's about an hour and a half in, and it really does gain a lot of momentum from the second to the third act of the film. That's where you see more of the horror and all the fucked up things that happens to these characters and what they come across. They're just really fucked with my head. I'm still trying to comprehend and think about everything that happened in this film and analyze everything. In terms of brutality, this movie is brutal, it's traumatizing, it's disturbing. This film is similar to other films like The Wicker Man, has similar parts to it. I'm not saying it's like a copy of it, because Midsommar is its own movie, but it, similar in parts. And overall, I thought it was just a really great story, and Ari Aster is definitely a very talented dude, a really talented director, a very talented writer, and he's slowly becoming like the new Stanley Kubrick. When I was watching this film, just the way he uses the camera reminded me a lot of like Kubrick shots from The Shining and other films. It's just really phenomenal. He's a very talented young dude, and I can't wait to see more of his films. So Midsommar is one of my most anticipated films of 2019. I've been so excited for this since they announced he's working on a follow-up movie, especially a horror flick, and how much I loved Hereditary, so I was very eager to see the follow-up from this director. In terms of the cinematography, the shots, the editing, the music, the acting, the chemistry between all these characters, everything just worked. I love the story, and honestly, I think I like this movie a little more than Hereditary, just a little more. I thought it was a really great performance by Florence Pugh. She's a young, up-and-coming actress, and she really shows what she's got in terms of acting chops in this movie. Definitely her best performance to date and the standout of this movie. So to really sum up Midsommar, I'm going to say it was lit. Flower power. Is that kombucha? Ooh. And finally, pink lemonade and meat pies. So that basically sums up the movie. You can take it as you want, but that's saying a lot about the film without giving a lot away. I want you guys to go into this movie not knowing too much and just fall in love with this story and fall in love with this world that Ari Aster creates around this festival in the middle of Sweden. And hopefully you guys will enjoy this as much as I did and enjoy the cast. So I'm going to give Ari Aster's follow-up film, Midsommar, 4.5 out of 5 Swedish hat pieces. So if you guys did see the new film from Ari Aster, Midsommar, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz signing out from the middle of nowhere in Sweden. Shit! What was that? Is that a monster truck commercial?
Be there!
Until the next movie review. Cheese!